Hey ladies, welcome back to my channel. So as you can tell by the caption of the video, today we're going to be doing a freestyle fill-in. I absolutely love my freestyle appointments. You guys know how I get about freestyles. Every time I do them, they come out super cute. So this is a set that I did about 2.5 weeks ago. And believe it or not, she's had these nails on like this set for about going on 2 months, I believe. So we're definitely going to be doing a soak off and a new set for her next set. But until then, we just wanted to go in with this little freestyle with the sea foam green color. It's super cute. You guys will see it at the end, of course. So I just started by pushing back her cuticles, and I'm filing off all of the old polish, the old stones, just completely getting rid of all the old and going in with the new. So sometimes once the set is so old, I can literally just file the stones off with my e-file, but sometimes they're still on there pretty good, so I just use my nippers to try to like pluck them off. And sometimes they just pop right off, sometimes it just loosens them, and sometimes it doesn't do either, so I just have to go back in with my e-file and keep filing over top of it to loosen it up and to get rid of some of that rhinestone glue from around them. And eventually they come off, as you can see, and I just go back over and file off like the glue and anything that was underneath. But we decided for this nail that it was pretty much lifting really bad. Like I said, she has had these on for quite a while, and not this exact set. She got a set before this, so this set that we're doing now is her third set with these nails. But the set that we're like changing, I guess I should say, she's had for about 2.5-3 weeks, and she is not really rough on her nails, but she does work in a factory, so she's constantly having to wash her hands and do a whole bunch of stuff with her hands. So that is why that nail started to lift like that. So we just decided to go ahead and take that off and repair it. I don't know about other nail techs, but I'm the type, like, I am not the one to try to desperately salvage nails. If it's just lifting a little bit to the point I can nip it and fill it in, cool. But like in that case, as you guys seen, it was completely lifting on the side, so it's better to just take it off and replace the nail rather than try to spend a whole bunch of time clipping it down and filing and trying to work magic. So yeah, but here I'm just going in with that cone drill bit that you guys always see me use to get out all of the excess dead skin and all of the I always call it nitty gritty. That's the best I can put it. Just all that junk that be underneath, especially with her, this being a fill-in, expose all that new growth, get all of that just out of there. And now I'm going in with my sanding band to get rid of any natural oils that are on the nail, and to, again, like I said, expose some of that new growth. Well, not some of it, all of it actually. But yeah, so I'm going in with my nippers now, and yes, I did go back and clean these. So of course I do that between each client, which I think I'm going to do a video on that so I can inform people a little bit more about that process and everything. But yeah, another video for another time. So I'm just going in and getting rid of all of her new growth, any cuticle that she may have. She doesn't usually ever have a lot, even though her nails grow pretty fast. But yeah, going in and just cleaning up that shape. She is not getting them any shorter, so she actually normally gets long. She has never gotten long with me. So like I said, this is her third set, so this is her third time coming to me. So she's not really a new client anymore, but before she came to me, she got like long stilettos, so she wanted to like work her way back up. So we did short, and she just let them grow out. And then when she comes back and gets her new set, we're going to be doing like a medium long. So we're just working our way back up to that long, and you guys of course will be brought along the journey. So yeah, just going in and cleaning up that square shape, filing the new nail tips. We did have to replace 2 on the other hand as well. So yeah, And I just do the same steps in this. Well, not the same steps. Sorry, you guys, it's late. I'm just doing the same thing that I always do when filing. Square, 90-degree angle on the sides. Make sure that you're getting underneath to get any excess nail, any excess old acrylic. If the nail has become rigid or anything, we're going to straighten that out, clean it up with that file. And then, of course, on the free edge, we're doing straight down 90-degree angle to get that crisp, clean, square shape, you guys. And I know I keep telling you guys that I'm going to do a shaping video. I have not forgot about that. Bear with me. It's coming. I'm going to go all into detail about, square shaping, coffin shaping, stiletto shaping, everything of that nature. It's definitely coming, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, it's pretty simple. It's not really much work since it's a fill-in as far as this step goes. That is another reason why I stress, how each step is so important when it comes to like retention and lifting and everything. Because if you do a really good set from jump, you're going to have clients that are able to come back and keep getting these fill-ins. And of course, if your work if it's done how it's supposed to be done, your fill-in is not going to be too much work. So that's why I always tell you guys, with each important step, hey, this really helps prevent lifting. This really helps increase your retention rate, because it really does make a difference. It really does. Like I said, you guys, this set is literally 3 going on, if I'm not mistaken, I know it's over 2 months old, maybe, but she's had it on for quite a while. And yeah, we're finally doing a repair. So I don't feel like that's pretty bad. And for her to work where she works and do what she does, that's pretty freaking good. So yeah. So I'm going back in and I'm blending the nail tips with the natural nails for all the ones that we had to replace. And now I'm going to go in with my Mia Secret dehydrator. This is really important. This helps with lifting, breaking, everything under the sun. This is so important. And it just helps go back in and get rid of those natural oils one last time, completely dehydrate the nail. And then, of course, we follow up right behind that with I use Young Nails Protein Bond or Primer. This is what helps the acrylic adhere and helps prevent lifting, helps really hold, that acrylic down, and helps that retention rate. So now we're going to go ahead and go in with the acrylic and start this fill. So 9 times out of 10, like I always mention, normally I only have to use 1 small bead to do my fill-ins, because you're not going back through rebuilding the apex unless, for some reason you had to like file off a lot of acrylic, or, say maybe you had to like nip or clip, I guess I should say clip some nail off because it was lifting. In that case, you might have to use more than 1 bead and like kind of rebuild the apex, but not most of the time. It's very rare that you'll have to do that with a fill-in. So 1 bead is normally enough, and you just place it right above where the old left off, so right at the new growth. And of course, as you slightly feather it down, it will push up a little bit, and that will give you the coverage that you need. You don't have to place it right on the cuticle, because then it's going to flood the cuticle, and then you're going to have a lot of lifting, and it's just going to be a mess. So yeah, place it right above where the tip left off at, and slightly feather it down. You don't want to drag it or pull it, because then your acrylic is just going to end up on your brush, and then you're going to wipe it, and your brush or I should say your acrylic's going to be all on the napkin, and you're just going to keep applying the acrylic, and by the time you know it, you've used 5-6 beads on 1 nail. We don't need that. So just 1 medium-sized bead definitely be all that you need, and of course, in case other circumstances apply. But for a typical basic regular fill-in, 1 bead is usually enough. So for the nails that I had to repair, I'm just doing my same normal method, my 4 bead method. Ladies, I always tell you this, sometimes it might not be 4 beads. For you might only need 1, you might need 5 or 6. It really is just up to you and how you want your nail to look. Sometimes I do my little 4B method and I feel like, I want a little more acrylic in this area. So I add a little bit more. Or sometimes I do 3 beads and I'm like, hey, I actually built that up pretty nicely, pretty smoothly. I don't even need that fourth bead. So you just kind of play it, by nail. Sometimes you don't need any more. Sometimes you need more. So, just go off of what you see fit for the set that you're doing. But in most cases, it's just a 4 bead method for me. I always start at the tip and I just work my way up, and it definitely leaves me with a nice clean application. The apex is there and it's just super nice. I also recommend, cleaning your brush in between each bead. You don't have to literally smudge your brush on the napkin, but as you're dipping it in the acrylic or in the monomer to pick up the acrylic and you place your bead, you would go back in and kind of wipe your brush off on the napkin as you see I'm doing, here and there, just so no acrylic builds up in your brush. And I do dip my brush in my monomer pretty frequently just to, keep it moist, keep it wet. It's literally such a hassle getting acrylic out of your brush. Oh, I don't even want it. It just makes me cringe talking about it. I will definitely do a video on, bringing a brush back to life that has gone through something like that. But for now, we're just going to talk about the things that you can do to avoid that, which is cleaning your brush in between. As you can see, it's kind of, I have the video sped up a little bit, so it might be hard to notice, but yeah, I'm just making sure that I dip my brush back in that monomer and I'm wiping it off on the napkin pretty frequently. And another big key to help prevent lifting and to have a nice smooth application is cleaning around the cuticles. As you can see, I keep taking my brush and wiping it around the cuticle to make sure that no acrylic floods the cuticle, make sure no acrylic spills over, and it just is so worth it. It's like I always tell you guys, I cannot stress enough, it's easier to worry about it now, to just go through, wipe clean. Even if you don't think nothing's there, it's just I do it by force of habit just to be safe. Just clean the cuticle area, because as soon as you get done and it's time to file and you see that you have a whole bunch of cuticle, you have a whole bunch of acrylic that flooded over, now you're going to be trying to file and do all this extra stuff to try to get that off when you could have just simply cleaned it up during your application. So I always recommend that. So much easier. And yeah, it's crazy, you guys. I just want to throw this in there. It's so crazy that she started with that brown acrylic that you see, and then we did like that red and black set that you guys just seen, and now we're going to do a whole seafoam green. Like, it's just so crazy to think that like it started off as a brown set, but Monica always works her magic. So yeah, but anyways, I'm just going to do the same thing on this hand, filling in the nails that need to be filled in. And then, like I said, she did have 2 repairs on this hand as well, so I'm going to just be going in and doing those full acrylic applications on those 2 nails, and then we will get into the design. Something that I also want to mention, I guess it's just more so like a little tip, but maturing as a nail tech. Now, don't get me wrong, I know there might be some beginners on here, so this will be good to know in the beginning rather than wait until you've been doing nails for a while to figure this out. But maturing as a nail tech, or like I said, starting off, this could be really good information, is realizing, I guess I should say, that you do not need a thick nail to have a good application or to have a good apex. Like, when I first started, I used to literally make my nails so thick because I used to be like, they can't break, I gotta make sure that they don't break, thinking that making the nail thick, was doing the right thing, when in all reality, it doesn't really matter how thick or how much how much acrylic is on the nail. If the application is not done right, if the foundation is not where it needs to be, then that nail can be as thick as a brick and it will still pop off or it will still break. So you just have to pay attention to where you're placing your beads and how you're placing your beads. And in the end, when if you watch some of my videos on my page, I do show like my side view, and it might look like, oh, that's not enough acrylic, but trust me, them are the girls that are coming back, for these fill-ins or having that same set on for 2-3 times, because the acrylic is not caked on. That's not always a good thing to have so much acrylic on the nails. So don't ever get discouraged. As long as you have your apex and as long as your nails are nice and sturdy, then you're good. They don't have to be super fat or super thick you know, just to make you feel like they're gonna last. That's not always the case. It's actually never the case. Thick nails are not it. So this is the finished result after filling in the nails and going back in and replacing those 3 nails. So I'm just going to go and clean up my shape. Whew. I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm literally so tired. I do my voiceovers at night most of the time because as you guys know, or maybe you don't know, but you know now, I do have a son. He is 5 months old. So, mom life, I got to get in where I can fit in. This is me, take it or leave it. So I'm just going to always keep it real with you guys. If I'm going to do one thing, it's going to be keep it real with you guys. So, I do try to get some of my voiceovers done in the morning, or throughout the day when he's hanging out with his dad. But the nighttime is like my me time, and doing voiceovers are actually pretty enjoyable for me. So I'm not complaining, but you guys might hear a few yawns, and that's okay. So anyways, yeah, I'm going back in and just cleaning up the shape and refiling those new nails. And then of course making sure that I turn my hand and flip her, well, not my hand, her hand, but making sure I'm turning it and flipping it so I can see it from a whole bunch of different angles and make sure that everything is nice and straight and nice and crisp. And then of course I'm going to go in with my e-file and seal the cuticles and smooth everything out, because with fill-ins, it is very important that you make sure that the new acrylic is smoothed out with the old, so you can have that nice, clean, fresh base to work on for when you start doing your design. And I mention this all the time, I'm going to always mention this, that sealing the cuticles, sealing the acrylic is super, super important. That's like one of the main things that will help prevent any lifting and will help your nails last way longer. So this is just, making sure that there is no excess acrylic around, it's filing it down to where it needs to be, sealing that acrylic and smoothing out the nail. And of course it's easier to look over a smooth surface rather than a rough surface. And of course we do go back in after using the e-file and the regular file with a buffer. That's like the last step before doing our design, and that just gets off any of the like scratches or everything that could be on the nail from this e-file. So I don't know if I remember to include that in this video, but it's in most of my other videos, if not this one. That's one of the really simple steps. You just take a buffer and literally buff the nail briefly, but I do always like to remind everybody to get underneath the nail, because there's usually a lot of like build up, a lot of debris, a lot of stuff underneath the nail from all the filing and the acrylic application and everything of that sort. So that's definitely important. And another thing that I like to do, not just with fill-ins but just in general, is I like to take the e-file and get like underneath like the tip of each nail, like the curve, because when filing, sometimes that nail tip, it's kind of hard to explain, but when you start to do nails or when you do a set, you'll know what I mean. So like when you file with the file, sometimes the nail kind of like gets like built up, the nail tip kind of gets like built up under there, or like the acrylic. And so sometimes like I'll just, well, not sometimes, all the time actually, I do go back through with the e-file and I get underneath just to get any excess, like I said, nail tip or acrylic or debris or just anything of that sort from under there, so it can be nice and clean. So this is that beautiful sea foam color I was talking to you about, and it has really good coverage. This is from Beetles. I don't know the exact name of the polish, but it is from Beetles. And if you want to know what the name of the polish is, just comment down below and I will reply back to your comments so I can give you that information. But I'm just going in with my first layer of this polish. Look how good it is. Like, you can't even tell that there's brown underneath these nails. So the design that we're going to be doing is on 3 fingers. So the pinky, the ring, and the thumb, we're going to be doing like a croc print. I always say snake print, but it's really like a crocodile print, snake print, same thing. So we're going to be doing the croc print, and then on the middle and the ring finger, or the middle and the pointer finger, we're going to be doing a French tip with a few stones. So they turned out really cute. I can't wait for you to see them. But yeah, so what I'm going to do for the croc print nails is do my 2 layers of the color and then go back in with the clear coat and then do the design, and I will explain that when I get to that point. But for the French tip, I'm just going to start on the sides of the nails and slowly work my way to a nice curve. A nice tip is to just start by one side of the nail and make your the half of your curve and then go to the other side and literally meet it. Just take your time. That might not have been a really good explanation, but it's always better for you to watch rather than me to try to tell you, because I don't know, I'm a visual learner and then a hands-on learner. I can, look at something and try it and get it, but listening does not always work for me. So I don't think, French tip is like super easy to explain, but watching it and trying it is definitely, um, you know, definitely has always helped me. So yeah, I'm just starting from one side and, just starting my curve and then going to the other side and slowly doing the other part of my curve and meeting it in between and filling in like the free space with the rest of the polish. So if you guys feel like you want to go back in and like clean up your French tip, or maybe you got some polish somewhere, a good tip is to get like a cleanup brush. Like you see, I have one laying down on my napkin, that pink brush. Just dipping that in some acetone and drying it off a little bit and wiping it. um it's such a good tool to use, like for like obviously it's a cleanup brush, but to straighten up your curve or to get off any excess polish, anything of that nature. So I do highly recommend that. And then of course I always wipe the sides and the curve of the nail, because with gel I only use gel, and it's like a hit or miss with certain brands, certain colors. Sometimes they're super thick, sometimes they're super runny. So to help me keep my nice clean shape, after of course applying my polish, I go back and I just wipe like the underneath of the sides of the nails, and I always, get the curve of the nail tip too. And as you can see, I'm using my cleanup brush. So sometimes, if I get any polish around the cuticle or on the skin, I just dip it in some acetone and easily clean it up. So yeah, definitely always have acetone nearby when doing nail art. So I'm just going to go back in and do my second coat. And of course, in between coats, I'm letting the nails dry for 60 seconds. So now I'm going to go in and put my top coat on all of the nails that are going to be the croc print. I do this because it depends on the set and the look I'm going for, but in this particular set, I wanted the base, I guess, of the croc print to be shiny, and then of course the croc print to be like the dryish, matte looking type of vibe. So I've noticed that I used to just do like my croc print on the nail before applying the top coat, and then I would be stuck with having to make the croc print glossy, because it's like, how do I put a top coat on the base of the polish without putting it on the croc print, if that makes sense. So that's just a tip. If you ever want your croc print to have the look that you'll see on this set, apply the top coat before doing the croc print. So I'm just putting that on the nails that we're going to have that on, and then I'm letting it cure for 60 seconds. And then I just have some of that same polish over on like a top of one of my old acrylics, and I'm just dipping my dotting tool in it. And the best way for me to explain the croc print is I always start in the middle of the nail and go downwards, and I just do lines straight over. The best thing about this design, ladies, is that the lines do not need to be perfect. It's literally croc print, so they can be any type of way. Of course, they can't be, all spread over the nail, but straight across and you're good. So that's what I did, going from top to bottom down the center of the nail, and then I just go back in on the sides and just add little lines, you know, you can put them wherever, but I just kind of like to, as long as they're the same amount on each side and they're relatively in the same spot. So then while the polish is still wet, I go back in with some clear acrylic powder and I pour it over top, and then I just let that cure for 60 seconds and then I bring it back out and dust it off. So again, I'm just going down the center of the nail with my dotting tool, dipping it in that polish, and I'm just doing lines straight across. And then for the sides of the nails, I'm just going in and making smaller lines down the side of the nail. I think I was able to fit like 4. And well, actually, my finger had messed up one of the nails, well, one of the lines. So what I did was just dip some paper towel in acetone and cleaned that off. I didn't take off the whole design of the nail. I was able, since the lines were so small, to just wipe down the sides, and I just reapplied the polish, reapplied the little design on that side. It was no big deal, super quick. But as you can see, like, they're just little small lines going down the side. So yeah, I'm gonna pour some acrylic over that wet polish. If you cure the polish before applying the acrylic powder, it will not stick, it will not stay, it will not give you the look you're going for. So just remember, while the polish is still wet, pour that acrylic powder over there, over the nail. I guess I should say not over there, but yeah, and then you're gonna let it cure. So as you can see, my lines are not uniform. They're not coming out exactly the same, but they are the same in the sense of, you know, the direction they're going in and where they're at, as far as on where they're at on the nail. But they're not all exactly the same. But it still turns out so cute because, you know, there's no crocodile that, I mean, like, the croc print is just supposed to be print. Nothing more, nothing less. You can't say that it's perfect or if it's not, because not all crocodiles are the same, you know? I'm probably getting too science, too geographic on y'all, but yeah, whatever. So before you guys talk about me, yes, that is an old kitchen measuring spoon. It's worked wonders for me in so many different ways, so I just use it for so much. So yeah, I dusted the polish or the excess acrylic powder off, and the nails look so freaking cute. But wait till you guys see them close up. So now I'm just gonna do literally some quick, simple bling. I'm using the same McCart rhinestone gel. I'm just going across the cuticle area, and I'm going to do 1 larger rhinestone in the center and then 3 smaller rhinestones down the side. I'm going to do the same thing for the middle nail and the pointer finger. And then once I cure those for 60 seconds, it doesn't have to be 60 seconds actually. I always say that, but rhinestone gel dries super quick, so just having it under the dryer for like 5 seconds honestly will dry those in place. So be careful. That's another thing I want to say. Always double check your rhinestones when using like rhinestone gel, because sometimes they do like to slide. So I always say double check and make sure they're in the right spot, and then automatically dry them, because once they go under, if they're not where you want them to be, you'll have to file them off and just reapply them, and it's just this big ordeal. That's just something I've learned as, you know, being in the nail game for a while. I used to just take my time and wouldn't even go back and double check them and put them under the dryer, and yeah, they would be a mess and I would have to completely redo them. But we're gonna save you that step, ladies. Apply your gel where it's needed. Well, your glue, your rhinestone glue, I guess, where it's needed. Apply your stones. Take one last look at them before you put them under that dryer, and boom, you'll be good to go. So yeah, I let them cure for, I did end up letting them stay under there for 60 seconds because I had to do the other hand anyways, but you know, whatever works for you. As long as they're dry, of course. And then I just put the top coat on my 2 rhinestone nails since the other ones are finished, and yeah. And I always let the nails dry for about 1 round of 60 seconds and then another round of 30, just to make sure that top coat is nice and dry. Currently I'm using Beetle's top coat. I didn't put that like in the video, but it's in other videos. Applying top coat is one of the most simplest steps. But yeah, so this is the finished result, and I'm so obsessed. Look at that color on her skin, you guys. Like, that's so freaking beautiful. I love these. I know I said that every set, but I'm just obsessed. I love my work so much. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if there's anything specific that you want to see, make sure to leave me a comment below, and I will do that. And until next time.